Hi, welcome back to another one of these small sessions during which we will discuss and highlight one of the major issues that I believe is important for the understanding of the discussion that we've been having and your assignments about how to move into a green economy. But again, allow me one more time before we proceed to highlight the fact that up until now, as I have mentioned more than once, including, by the way, the syllabus and a couple of emails, some of you have not yet contributed and done your part, at least as far as submitting either a topic or doing the work that you're required to do on the blog. Now, keep in mind that all of these things will be counted against you if you're going to proceed like this. You really, in essence, are shooting yourself in the foot. So please take the time, read the assignments, and do the work that you're supposed to do. Today, what I'd like to do is spend a couple of minutes on highlighting at least one issue. It goes without saying, just based on the fact that you are registered in this course, based on the fact that I have read all the comments, most of you probably, and that's the way that it should be, think of yourselves as environmentalists. Now, before we proceed any further, I believe it's important that we highlight at least the fact that there are in the world various shades or various colors of environmentalists and environmentalism. The two most important groups of environmentalism are commonly known as shallow environmentalists or mainstream environmentalism, if you will, and that is diametrically opposed by what is commonly known as deep ecology. The first one essentially is based on the belief that utilitarianism, utilitarian principles, i.e. those that maximize happiness. What maximizes happiness, obviously, is that which increases satisfaction for human beings. So value is always measured relative to whether we get any satisfaction from that particular asset or that particular activity. So the value of a tree is based on the lumber. What is the value of lumber in the market? While, on the other hand, the deep ecology, which is, as we said, diametrically opposite to it, is based on a completely different principle. It's based on the principle of intrinsic value. That's to say, a particular asset, whether it be a tree or an animal or even an inanimate object, that particular asset has a value of itself and by itself just by the mere fact that it exists. So one view, in essence, really looks at the world as if it's centered around us, while the other one says that we are part of nature. We are part of the web of life. And so, as a result, as you might imagine, therefore, our duties and our responsibilities towards nature and towards each other will be completely different in one perspective vis-a-vis the other. I don't want to sound as if I am really doubting the sincerity of any of the members of these two groups in creating an eco-society, an eco-friendly society, and a sustainable world for that matter. But there are major differences, as you could tell, in the way that they go about their particular analysis of what is it that is important and what is it that is not. So the first group, i.e. the mainstream or the shallow environmentalism, if they will, is a group that, in essence, believes that there are no limits to growth. So we can therefore depend on technology to resolve very many of our problems, and we'll be able to substitute one good for another whenever it so happens that one of these particular elements becomes scarce. The other one, on the other hand, believes that there are limits. And it is very important then that we judge the world based on that particular view and the dynamics of deep ecology, which really is saying that it would be so much better for us to reduce the scale of our activity, because it's really the scale of our activity and the number of people and our relationship to nature that is creating this particular problem. The other important difference, if you will, and it's difficult to deal with all of these in only a couple of minutes, but I wanted to highlight them, is that the first group speaks of the importance of evolutionary small steps from within the current system, while the deep ecologists, in essence, are asking for a completely different and a radically different world. So you cannot then go ahead and take small steps and they will not be evolutionary, because what they're really asking for is a revolutionary transformation of what we have into another kind of a society. In order to probably just summarize this so that you'll be able to think about it in the future, or as the time goes on and as you're reading some of these suggestions, both by the UN and by the other authors included in the Road to Rio, the ultimate question that needs to be answered, and you have equally intelligent people on both sides, and so I'm not going to suggest that there is only one answer, but you've got to be able to think about the implications of this particular question. Is capitalism sustainable? As you might have already guessed, the answer really hinges on which of these two groups you think that you belong to. Because one group believes that the system as it is sustainable, all we've got to do is do some small modifications, while the other one thinks that the problems that we have are really as a result of the system within which we operate. And so in order to arrive at that particular transformation into a green economy, we've got to undertake a huge revolutionary step that will create a completely different system, i.e. we've got to change the whole architecture. So I will leave you with this, and we'll talk about some of these issues later on in the future. Okay, bye-bye.